Hi everybody, my name's Alan. On behalf of the crew, I'd like to welcome you to another edition of Bridging Heaven and Earth. It's interesting because, most of you know we shoot this show, like most television shows, are shot in a studio, and we're in a place that's not completely sound protected. So we had started the show, and I'd started an opening, and there was planes coming over, so we decided to stop and start again. And I was talking about, the vastness of the universe and the vastness of through the Hubble Space Telescope and all that. But really, the interesting part is that as a human being, we're in a conundrum in a way. We're in this interesting balance that we have to kind of come into, that we have to somehow bridge heaven and earth, that we have to somehow be in a human body that we know is small, and small compared to the United States, small compared to Earth, small compared to the sun and the moon and the galaxies and then the Milky Way, that each of our human bodies is small. And it's fragile, and each of us is here today and gone tomorrow. It's just a question of which day. That we all know, something about it we all know. And yet something in us, something in our being knows that we are so powerful. Each one of our individual incarnations, each one of our individual beings on this planet is somehow so powerful and so vast and so infinite and so connected with the creation and the creator of all that galaxies and vastness and suns and super suns and novas and black holes, that somehow we're at the root of that, that somehow we as human beings are both part of that and in essence one with that. And it's a conundrum for us as human beings, is how can we reconcile the fact that we're fragile and small to the knowing that we're infinite and powerful and inclusive, all inclusive. How can we reconcile those two seemingly disparate concepts, ideas, feelings, knowings? And there is a way. There is a real way. I mean, throughout history, the people who have experienced that way have come forth and said there is a way. We know it's tricky. We know it's in a sense, it's difficult. But we also know that in a sense, it's right there. Because we are that love. We are that creator. We are that infinite. The Father and I, the Goddess and I, love and I are one. And we know that exists, that experience exists in every one of us. In this human body, in my human body, in all our human bodies, as fragile as they are, that contains the key for each of us to know love, unconditional love, God. And we're here together at this particular immense and auspicious time to bring that reality home, to come home into that recognition, to come home into that reality. And it's going to take some changes. It's going to take some doing. We've been talking about that on the show a lot recently, about the new paradigms that are forming. And they're forming in every aspect of our lives, because we have to experience love instead of fear. We have to experience oneness instead of separation. And when we start experiencing those things more and more and more and more, all those activities and institutions will change by our nature and by the nature of our intention. They cannot stand against that love. And that is our destiny, and that is our calling. And that's why we're here. And you'll see that these new paradigms are going to explode up in every area. In every area of our lives, that which has failed us in a way because they haven't supported love, they haven't supported the knowing of oneness, has to leave us as new ones are built, as new, on this bridge, new paradigms will be built. And our guests tonight are part of that new paradigm, part of making health, part of making the human body, this, in a sense, fragile human body that houses our connection to the infinite, how to make that healthy and harmonious and abundant and just feel good and joyous. Roopa and Deepak Chari are leading edge health practitioners. Roopa is a medical doctor who combines her unique training and experience in alternative methods with her traditional medical background to provide the best quality and that new paradigm in healing and in experiencing the human body as a gift to experience that infinite and that oneness and that unconditional love. And Deepak, who works with her at the Chari Center, is a certified biofeedback specialist. He has a Master of Science in Engineering, and his intention is to bring that whole mind-body connection using innovative technologies and using new paradigms and new ways for increased healing and for increased harmony, increased recognition, and increased subtlety. So it doesn't take massive trauma to our human form before we can come into a harmony and a love and a recognition of that infinite and that inclusive in our human form, that the Father and I, the Goddess and I are one. And we usually show videos on bridging, and tonight we have two beautiful videos that Roopa and Deepak have put together, showing all their technologies and introducing us to the Chari Healing Center that's here in Santa Barbara. And as most of you know as well, we're in the middle of an extraordinary international healing art project. It came as a dream, it came as a vision, to reach out to the world and say, join us, join this method, join this medium of bridging heaven and earth. Allow us to share your gift with the world. Produce any new original piece based on the theme Bridging Heaven and Earth. Any format, any size. And we'll show it on the shows. We'll have art project videos. We'll have exhibits. And we will bring that energy, that healing, that acupuncture out to the world. And that will be a healing for the planet. And Roopa and Deepak have produced two extraordinary mandalas, so beautiful and so healing and so powerful in their part of their center, part of their healing process is to produce these extraordinary mandalas that are individual to each person who they're done for and are very powerful in the healing and the harmonizing of each person. So we have just amazing potential tonight to once again bridge heaven and earth. Once again, in this fragile human body, to experience the infinite and to experience that we are all included in that love. There is no religion, there is no country, there is no sexual preference, there's no size, there's no age, there's nothing and no one who is not part of that love. So join me in a short meditation. Then we'll have the first half of the Chari Healing Center video, and then we'll have Roopa and Deepak with us, and beautiful art. And also check out at some point the Bridging Healing Art Project. It's heaventoearthart.com. There are so many powerful and beautiful parts to this healing, and people from all over the world have participated. So join me in a short meditation. Thank you. I hope you had a beautiful experience as well. Okay, so now we're going to have the first video. This is an introduction to the Chari Center for Health. Roopa and Deepak, enjoy.
National Institutes of Health research indicates that stress plays a role in at least 87% of all illnesses. Unmanaged or prolonged stress can complicate conditions such as depression, anxiety, mood swings, increased blood pressure, hormonal imbalance, shortness of breath, muscle tension, elevated heart rate, chronic fatigue, weight gain, diabetes, and pain. At the Chari Center of Health, a complementary and alternative medical center, we offer accelerated leading-edge solutions with a board-certified medical doctor and an engineer and certified biofeedback specialist. The Chari Center of Health provides natural treatments with a board-certified medical doctor and advanced technologies for accelerated stress reduction and pain relief. Please join us on a tour of the Chari Center.
The initial session includes a very thorough medical consultation with Dr. Roopa Chari, a medical doctor whose specialty is in internal medicine. Dr. Chari incorporates very effective researched alternative therapies and is also certified in remarkable mind-body techniques for healing emotional issues. After Dr. Chari takes a very detailed medical history that lasts an hour or more, this is followed by a physical examination. After reviewing the client's medical history, Dr. Chari will outline a personalized health program, including nutritional, dietary, and detoxification recommendations. Treatments will also be given for clearing emotional issues.
Mr. Deepak Chari, who is Dr. Chari's brother, then discusses sessions with an advanced biofeedback technology called the SKIO.
It is a state-of-the-art evoked potential biofeedback system for stress detection and stress reduction.
Deepak Chari holds a Master of Science degree in engineering and is a certified biofeedback specialist.
Mr. Chari specializes in utilizing the latest, most innovative and non-invasive technological devices for enhancing one's quality of health. For the SKIO session, clients are connected with comfortable ankle and wrist straps and a forehead band that contains sensors attached by wires to the highly sophisticated program of the EPFX SKIO. The treatments are non-invasive and very relaxing. The EPFX SKIO is an extraordinary device that can help balance the overstressed body system. Living in today's stressful environment can often result in a lowered immune system, chronic pain, fatigue, depression, insomnia, and emotional turmoil. SKIO scans the body and assists in detailed assessment, helping to correct the body via homeopathic bioresonance autofrequencies. The program enhances the client's general health, increases wellness through awareness, improves performance, increases energy levels, relaxes, and decreases stress. The EPFX SKIO is based on 20 years of research designed by Professor Bill Nelson, a former NASA scientist, physicist, and mathematician.
Another remarkable technology which grounds your body to the Earth's magnetic field is called the MRS 2000 Plus.
The sleek control unit houses an integrated computer system. The mat applicator, local pad applicator, and optional probe applicator present innumerable possibilities for effective use in your home. An optional sound and light relaxation system creates a daily anti-stress spa for your brain through audio-visual brainwave entrainment technology. You can live with less stress, profoundly restful sleep, and more energy and vitality to enjoy life to the fullest.
Another remarkable technology at the Chari Center is the Vibrasound. Experience only one of 30 devices worldwide. Vibrasound sessions with the Zero Gravity Chair allows you to quickly and easily achieve the state of being in the zone without years of meditation.
It's like walking into a new dimension, a complete sensory experience that combines virtual reality and neurotechnology.
There are many benefits of the Vibrasound. The Vibrasound releases stress and anxiety, enhances deep relaxation, improves mental clarity, helps you achieve deep states of consciousness, and clears blockages in manifesting your desires. Live the life of your dreams with our leading-edge technologies and health programs. For further information, please visit our website at www.charicenter.com or call us and we would be happy to assist you.
Hi everybody, welcome back. So now you know a little about the Chari Center, beautiful place. And so we're with Deepak and Roopa on the set. And this is the incredible piece that Roopa did that I was talking about. And it's called Rupkala Mandala. Why don't you talk a little about how you produced that and what it means?
Sure. Actually, it was thrilling making this mandala because, well, Deepak can explain the science behind making it, but it's by speaking your voice, voicing your intention. And what my intention was when I made this is that whoever views this mandala, that they would have love, peace, health, prosperity in all avenues of their life. So it spoke that intention and then it formed this beautiful image. Wow. And because it was a personalized image, we thought, well, I can put my name on this, but the Sanskrit, my name is Roopa, but Roop actually is derived from the Sanskrit word that means form. And in some other places it means beauty. And then Kala comes from my parents' native language, Telugu, which Marco Polo called the Italian of the East. And Kala means dream. So it literally means the form of a beautiful dream in this mandala.
Wow, and it looks like it really, it's amazing how it came out that way. And we'll see yours in the second section, the one you did, and you could talk a little about that.
Absolutely.
So Deepak, when did you know that becoming part of this new paradigm, this new healing was something that, basically you had to do and was, just your passion and your fire?
Well, it all started in 1983. My father had a heart attack suddenly, and at the age of 50, he suddenly died. And we were all kind of shocked, like, why did this happen? How did this happen? And, could we have prevented this from happening? And so this started us on the healing journey. And I was always interested in alternative healing, but that really started me in that journey much, much more quickly. So from 1983 through 1999, I was on the search for different mind-body techniques, or basically anything I could find. And I discovered various mind-body techniques. And this led us to form the Chari Center in San Diego in 1999 with the mind-body techniques. And that was the start of our journey. And then later on, I literally asked the universe with my engineering background, I asked the universe, please give me the technologies in some way where I can actually do some work with my engineering background. And literally through the most unusual coincidences you could ever imagine, the technologies just revealed themselves to me in the around 2003, 2004, 2005 time. So we were doing mind-body techniques from 1999, and then from 2003 area, all these technologies just appeared. And that literally is how the paradigm occurred with our Chari Center.
Wow. And you're a medical doctor, so you went through the whole process of the degrees and med school and all that. So how did you choose that path more than, alternative methods or acupuncture or something? How did that work out for you?
Well, my inspiration was my mother. And it still is my mother.
What was the father's death? What was the mother? That's interesting. Yeah, go ahead.
Because when we were growing up, our mother has a lot of medical intuitive knowledge. And she would always make homemade remedies and give them to us. And she taught us about hands-on healing. And then she would bring in remarkable healers. And they would teach us, since we were kids, about nutrition and mind-body medicine.
Where did you grow up?
In Toledo, Ohio.
Oh, in Toledo, Ohio. Interesting.
So she would invite them, actually both my parents would, and then she would have them come to our home. So that was literally ingrained in our consciousness. So the foundation, the actual foundation of the Chari Center was based on what we learned in childhood. And so that had such a tremendous impact. And then we saw what was so inspiring to me also was how she dedicated her life to service, always helping others, as did our father. So we knew that even though we went the traditional medical route and Deepak went in engineering, we always knew that eventually we would end up, forming a healing center, which would be full of love and compassion, and also bridge science and spirituality, or science and natural healing, so that they don't have to be two separate worlds. And that was the heart with which we made it. And that's why in 1983, when our father passed away, it was a very powerful spiritual experience, but really that was the birth of when we decided to come together, and we knew eventually this is what we'd be doing.
Wow. So, interestingly enough, like in a certain sense for both of you, I mean, it was like you were made for this. I mean,
Yes.
you were brought up in it, and it just like was your destiny. And you both knew it clearly that this was your destiny? Did
Yeah.
you, Deepak, as well?
Yeah, I felt that. Even as a child, I was always searching for alternative healing techniques or something innovative. I was always in the library looking things up, and so I always had this passion for this.
Wow.
So it was underlying.
So, what would why don't you answer this first? What would you say is like the greatest dilemma for humans now to experience, a healthy being on all levels? Why don't you talk a little about that?
I think the number one thing is stress. And I can say this personally, that even back in 1983, even though we were in high school at the time, we didn't understand or appreciate what our father was going through as far as stress. And he had a tremendous amount of stress at his job, and he was brilliant, but he was a very kind and gentle soul, and he thought that by sharing that with us, that he would be burdening us. So he kept it inside until it literally became like a
Exploded.
pressure cooker, exactly, and took away his life. So it was from that point we realized how important it is to address stress. And that was the number one thing that after we finished our education, we said we need to find powerful, effective techniques that will work quickly and easily. And then that's what became our healing journey. So then we went to England, learned hypnosis, learned thought field therapy from Dr. Roger Callahan, and NLP from Dr. Richard Bandler. Any technique that we found that could easily, effectively, and quickly reduce stress. And then we heard later on, there have been reports coming about how stress is the number one cause for most doctor visits. And this was reported in the Centers for Disease Control back in 2005. So we always knew this intuitively. So we were thinking, okay, what can we do nutritionally, or natural remedies with herbs, or mind-body techniques? And then Deepak said, and also technologies, there has to be another way we can bring all of these modalities together. So we found stress to be the key.
And you would say the same. I mean, that
Oh,
clearly,
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. That we had the common realization of that it was stress, unexpressed stress, and that it literally bottled up.
And then dis-ease, once you're in that state of dis-ease, all hell breaks loose in the body,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
I mean, I've always said, and it seemed to me clearly that, that almost you probably know this better than I, probably tell me I'm wrong, no, probably not, but that every human body has cancer cells in them.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that when the immune system gets below a certain point, it'll start growing in your weak area. And, because of all the toxins and the stress and all the things that are ultimately stressful on the body, that's why there's been an explosion in cancer, even with all the medical technologies and all that.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, because stress is weakening their nervous system and immune system, and then on top of that, all the toxins that we're being exposed to. The body's not able to handle and process that.
So why don't you walk us through it? I know people have seen the video, but walk us through. Somebody comes in and says, without any particular condition, I think I could feel a lot better. I don't have a lot of energy. I'm not too happy. Or why don't you give an average patient?
Sure. Well, our intake form, I should say, is about 24 pages. So we go into detail. That is actually the start of the healing process, because we ask about their diet, lifestyle, issues going on, stresses going on, and about past stresses as well, past traumas. We deal with them as a whole and ask about their family, their children, their job situations. So we're trying to bring in both the nutrition.
And are both of you sitting in on that interview or that process? Do both of you review the...
For the very first visit, I'm just talking with them.
Okay.
And it's about an hour, and I go through the forms in detail and ask them in detail, and so that I get to really know them as a person versus a symptom or headache or anything else. I get to really know them one-on-one. And from there I do a physical examination just to kind of get an overview of what's happening. And then from there we tailor-make and personalize programs, nutritionally, detoxification, what mind-body techniques we should use in technologies.
Do you do things like blood tests as well? I mean, that's
Yes.
So you would do
Yeah,
that. So you would do basically all the standard medical intake kind of
Definitely.
first shot things.
Definitely. We have a very comprehensive lab test that we do as well. So that way I can get a complete overview, physically, emotionally, spiritually, stressors in life, everything of what's going on. And then from there I can see how to guide their program and then what technologies would be beneficial.
And let me ask you this, either of you, do you feel, I mean, we've had guests on the show who are intuitive that way, or after a certain time, I mean, that, they kind of sense it before, that there's something behind the story. I mean, maybe they get called medical intuitives in some places. Do you feel like you bring that to it as well? And
Definitely. We get an idea of what's going on by speaking to them, but honestly, within the first few minutes, I kind of see the big picture. And from there, really can get a feel of what direction they should go.
And so that would be the first step. And the second step is a singular individual program for each patient or each client. What do you call them, patients or clients?
Clients.
Yeah.
Right, I mean, when you go see a doctor, it used to be a patient, but I don't know what it is anymore. And so each one would get, why don't you kind of go through the things that possibly could, would it be diet, would it be fast, would it be, technologies, and then maybe
Sure.
Deepak can go
Yes.
through the different technologies.
Definitely. Well, usually there is an aspect of the diet that needs to be adjusted. And we always recommend then organic produce and juicing. So we kind of see, based on their lifestyle and stressors, how they've been eating, but also how they've been sleeping. That's as important, because between the hours of 10 and 2 is when our body releases the greatest amount of healing hormones. And if we're not able to get into a deep enough or quality enough of sleep at that time, that can really affect our health. So we address, but nutrition is an important factor, hydration is another important factor, sleeping, and also how their elimination organs are working. So from that, they may need to go on a detoxification program.
And your test will kind of tell you that their kidneys are working at 80% or 70 or 30%, and liver. So you will have some idea, plus your intuitive sense.
Yes.
What's
Combining
working
both.
well for this person and why they're so tired
Right.
all the time. It's lucky you walk in here, sometimes, right?
Yeah, it feels like that sometimes.
Right.
So definitely, it's all a part of what makes the person, and also their symptoms that they're experiencing are usually kind of related to many different arenas. And so that's why we then delve in a little bit into each one at the first visit and then kind of go more further in depth with the following visits.
And so how do the new technologies come in? At what point do they come in, and how does that work?
Well, after she does in a way, it's like a screening, because the intake form, by the way, she mentioned is 24 pages. Some people faint on that one, but she actually, we actually customize that intake form, because when they go through that intake form, which is different than the regular one, so a lot of people have a catharsis healing in itself, because on an emotional level, even before they come in. So that's actually part of the whole process.
I think filling out the test, it's like the old time when the gurus used to talk for 24 days to wear you out. But finally you fill this thing out, your ego's gone. That must be able to help you. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And it actually, you're right. It kind of opens them up, and it says, I didn't realize that and all these other. So it actually makes it easier to start their healing journey.
It shines light on darkness. Like they had habits and
Yes.
darknesses in their life that they
Exactly.
never really looked at, and all of a sudden
Right.
it's on paper, and they go, "Oh Christ,
Exactly.
I haven't gone to the bathroom in 3 weeks," stuff like that.
That's what they
Exactly.
say, that
Yeah.
it made them realize things they weren't even aware of before.
Interesting. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, brought to light. And so what happens is, after she does the initial medical screening and kind of finds out what's going on, and of course with the intuition, then she'll kind of see, like, based on, and we know each other, the technology so well, that she'll kind of say, well, I think this would be the best thing for you as the next progression. You know, we have a couple of different technologies, and she'll say, I think this is the best one for you, or this one's the best for you, or you need to do this one first, and then you can go to this one second. So that's kind of how she does it from there. Now, of course, there are certain conditions that a client may have that they may not be ready for the technologies. So, you know,
And why would that be?
like for example, if someone has epileptic seizures, or they're pregnant, or something like that, actually they could still do it, but we just like to be cautious about those things and certain things like that. But otherwise, you know, we'll just
So there isn't like, or there probably is. I mean, is there such a thing as like a low dosage or a low, you know, a lower, you know, possibility that people would start off on each machine at, you know, not a, you know, powerful.
Right, exactly. I mean, for the most part, we have a set routine. Like they'll start out with one of the devices we have, and everybody will virtually go through that one. I mean, there's really no exception. We pretty much have the same format. Everyone will usually start with that technology. That technology that I'm referring to is actually what I call the centering technology. It actually helps balance the mind and the body, and helps take the stress right out of the physical body and out of the emotional stress as well. So by literally sending the opposite frequencies to the stress in their physical body and in their emotions. So it's kind of like the sound-canceling headphones in a way, but it's just on a more elaborate scale. It'll work on every cell of the whole body, and it literally connects to their subconscious mind directly, bypasses the reasoning center, because otherwise the reasoning center will say, hey, you know, I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
I don't want to do it.
Exactly.
Change isn't good.
Yeah, and the neat thing is, because of the technologies that goes to their subconscious, it doesn't even, you know, the person can be sleeping in the session and it'll still work fine. They don't even have to believe it'll work, it'll still work. Of course, if they have the openness, it's going to be even a little bit more effective, but it'll still work. And so it sends 30,000 frequencies 3 times over 3 minutes.
And this would be the same for everybody, or would you guys decide that he only needs 25,000 or he needs this 12,000? In other words, does everybody need all 30,000 frequencies?
Oh, well, in the way that...
Seems like
oh, yeah,
I would
overload.
Oh,
yeah, I know.
Anything over 29.6, but no.
Oh, yeah.
Explain that a little.
Well, that particular technology you're referring to is the technologies we generally send everyone through after the initial session. Mm-hmm. And it just works that way. It actually sends... What it's doing is, it's sending these test frequencies to test their stress response to 30,000 different stressors in their mind and in their body. And each frequency is sent at 100th of a second, so it's biological speed. So their conscious mind has no idea what's happening there, which eliminates subjectivity. So in 3 minutes, you're sending 30,000 frequencies 3 times, and the person won't even notice it. But the data that's captured on my computer actually shows the reactivity that they had in their mind and in their emotions and in their body and everything.
Amazing.
It's like a newspaper readout in a way.
Wow, that's amazing. You know, maybe what we'll do is talk about, you know, the new technologies and how they work and how you integrate them in the second section. But maybe we'll do now is show the second half of the video of the Chari Center. So why don't we do that? We'll see the second half of the Chari Center video, and we'll be back with Roopa and Deepak after that. So, and a new piece of art. So enjoy.
My name is Dr. Roopa Chari, and this is my brother Deepak Chari. And together we have an alternative medical health center called the Chari Center of Health. We incorporate nutrition, detoxification, remarkable mind-body techniques, and the most amazing, transformative technologies. We were personally very inspired by The Secret, and the main value we saw in The Secret was that it really reinforces and emphasizes some of the main fundamental laws of attraction, and ultimately everything boils down to mastering the fundamentals in any subject or profession. Another thing that we found to be very important in manifesting your desires is to take care of one's physical health, and that includes nutrition, hydration, exercise, and plenty of rest. And in addition, it's very important to detoxify your body. And by that I mean detoxifying the elimination organs. And that includes the colon, the liver, and the kidneys. And the reason for that is one, it eliminates waste materials from the body. But in addition, in Chinese medicine, they found that our different organs actually store different emotions. For example, the liver stores anger, the gallbladder stores rage, and the kidney stores fear and anxiety. And personally, after doing a very intensive colon cleanse, I did a liver cleanse. And I couldn't believe it until I personally experienced it. That yes, it was a very profound physical detoxification, but in addition, I had a physical and emotional healing. Emotions that were suppressed probably for years came up to the surface to be released and healed. So it was profoundly healing for me personally, and I've seen that professionally as well. That's why it's best to avoid putting toxic substances into your body, such as alcohol. Alcohol actually degenerates one of the most important organs that we have in our body, and that's the liver. And our body tries to regenerate the liver whenever it's damaged. But when the liver is damaged, they found that that's one of the key organs that after a period of time, if it's not repaired, can lead then to degenerative diseases, such as cancer. So that's why it's very important to take care of your organs as if you would take care of your child, and to put proper nutrients and juices and fresh fruits and vegetables into your body to get the proper nutrients in so that your body can eliminate the waste so you can maintain an absolutely wonderful state of health and vitality. Whether it's cigarettes or alcohol or excess sugar or not exercising and not resting and overworking. All of these are symptoms of self-sabotage behaviors which ultimately leads to a deep-rooted feeling of self-hate. By taking care of your health, by clearing physical and emotional blockages, you'll actually manifest your dreams much quicker. And it also sends an intention out to the universe and to yourself that you're taking care of your needs and putting yourself first. We have seen dramatic healings take place when one takes personal responsibility for their health with regards to nutrition and rest and detoxification, and very importantly as well, deep emotional healing.
Hi everybody, welcome back. So now the incredible mandala you see in between us is Deep Dreams mandala, and it's Deepak's manifestation. Why don't you talk a little about that, what your intention was?
Absolutely.
She had a pretty good intention, so we'll see what yours is.
Oh, yeah.
You can top it.
Well, I called it Deep Dreams mandala because my name is Deepak, and my name comes from the Sanskrit word deep, which means light. And since this is my intention or my dream, but it's my dream for everyone, actually, it's deep dreams. And my intention was for complete peace, harmony, joy, prosperity, and love, and serenity, and a peace of mind. And that's what my intention was. So it's, and the amazing thing with this mandala is that every time you look at it, either of these mandalas, Roop Kala or Deep Dreams, it actually starts changing the brain, the rewiring the brain towards that overall intention.
Wow. And so a lot of people who have been using, that they go through the process, they get their own. They put out their intention, have their own.
Absolutely.
And so they'll have it up in their house, and they'll also have it as a screensaver.
Right. They can use
things
it
like that.
Exactly. Anyone who comes to our center to have this technology done, to literally have their own intention or dream into a mandala, personalized dream, they get to take it home with them, and so they can see it on screensaver. They can make it into an art piece, and and every time they look at it, they're moving forwards toward that intention.
Wow. And so we were talking about one of the technologies before with the 30,000 frequencies.
Yes.
And that isn't the one that produces the mandala, right?
That's correct. That's
okay.
correct.
And that one's the first one. It's the general harmonizing one. Is that what you would say?
Right. The first one we talked about in the last session.
Right.
Yes. That's what I call centering, and that literally helps balance the mind and the body, and literally relieve and remove all the stressors from the mind and the body and the emotions and the organs and the tissues as well. So the mind and body are in perfect alignment, balance.
Let me ask you this. I mean, how does this deal with the fact that a lot of these stresses come from our habit patterns and that we don't like re-establish them again? How does it work to, break the pattern, break the habit?
Well, it goes directly to the subconscious, because consciously we'll try to figure it out. Oh, it's because of this or it's because of that, but the way this works is it bypasses the conscious reasoning center and goes directly to the subconscious, and it's almost like a readout telling this is what your I can actually see what someone's subconscious is saying and where the real resistance is in their subconscious. So I send the exact opposite counteractive force, kind of like noise-canceling headphones. If you wear noise-canceling headphones, you don't hear any noise around you. Everyone else does, because it sends the exact opposite frequency to cancel those frequencies. Well, at 30,000 frequencies, instead of just a few canceling frequencies, we got 30,000 of them going in your favor, canceling out the negative, harmful frequencies in your mind and body and emotions and organs and tissues. So, and it actually will show this is your subconscious thought that's holding you back. So that brings it to conscious awareness, and that's even part of the healing process. But that's not even necessary. It'll actually take care of it.
And so that's done, and like for most people, what would be the next step or the next technology?
The next one would be grounding. We usually start, there's a new technology we recently acquired that's from Germany that actually sends the frequencies of the earth. Because recently, actually, we only have about half of the electromagnetic field of the earth that was there originally 300 years ago. So between the loss of electromagnetic frequencies of the earth and the fact that we're being bombarded with wireless technology, the technology is great, but our bodies are still adapting to it. So we start with the grounding process where they lie on this mat that has two separate coils in the head and the midsection and the legs that feeds back the Earth's frequencies. And that's incredibly healing because they found that when astronauts go into space, they actually lose their bone density and their immune system becomes compromised. So by feeding back the Earth's frequencies, it enhances their circulation, oxygenation, they feel more grounded and more balanced, and it also balances the immune system. And they have enhanced sleep patterns, they are able to actually deal with outside stressors actually more powerfully. And we use this daily on ourselves as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so which of the technologies produces this mandala?
Well,
that's part of a standard practice?
Well, yeah, and we like to start out with grounding and centering the person. So the one with the 30,000 frequencies that clears the negative subconscious emotions and takes the stress out of the organs and tissues, that's what we call centering. The grounding is to bathe the person with the Earth's magnetic field, like it was 300 years ago, not even today, because it's only half of what it was then. And once they're grounded and centered, then we feel they can go to the next stage, which we call soaring. And this is where they go towards their intention. Because once all those limitations are cleared, it's easier to go towards your intention. So the way that works is I have them tell me what their intention is. I record it with this high-quality mic, and this audio recording is then sent to a supercomputer, which is located in Europe, and it literally analyzes their voice, and ironically, it analyzes 30,000 frequencies of their voice also in the separate technology, and it figures out what needs to be optimized mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually.
Just from the whole voice pattern.
Yeah.
It can do that.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like somehow a fingerprint of the entire
it is.
being.
It's almost like, people can read your palms and they can tell you what's going on. Well, this is reading it from your voice. And the amazing thing is there's only like 30 of these in the world as a practitioner to do this. And it can read just like a fingerprint, it can read your voice and tell everything that's going on in your voice, but can also optimize your mental, emotional, physical, spiritual aspects within your voice to move you in the direction of your intention. So it analyzes 30,000 frequencies of your voice, optimizes it in all those areas, and this is done in like 1 or 2 seconds. When I get this, super fast.
Wow.
That supercomputer
That's
does
amazing.
that. Yeah, my laptop would take probably a week or something. So once I get this data, I put it back in my software, and what I do is I feed the calculated, optimized frequencies of their intention back to the person, but it'll be in the form of vibration. Because
What are they strapped
Unfortunately, they're not strapped in, yeah.
No, how do you get it back into them? How does that work?
Well, the way it works is I have a zero gravity chair that they lie in. And the chair has transducers or like inverted speakers throughout the whole chair. And they sit in the chair, they wear these 3D goggles, and they wear headphones, and there's another device that also goes over their chest. And what happens is I feed the optimized frequencies that were calculated from supercomputer back into the chair. So the chair vibrates every single cell of their being. And it actually vibrates the water in every cell of their being because we're mostly water, and it's a very good conductor of vibration. They get to see their mandala, this mandala here, but also different other variations of it as well. And they get to hear it.
So this supercomputer spits back a mandala? I mean, it's part of the process.
Yes,
so
this is the process.
That's where it comes from.
Yes, this is the process.
So when you guys did yours, you sent your voice in at that moment with that intention?
Absolutely.
Did you talk your intention the whole sentence or two, or just...
Well, we have actually up to 60 seconds to say it, and I use the full time.
Yeah, this guy's got enough faster.
Yeah, we made sure that we got our full intention in there. Yeah.
And so that's what a person does. When they're feeding it into the supercomputer, they're saying, my intention is... Now, does it matter what my intention is to... Does it have to be some higher, or my intention is to be rich, my intention is to be famous, my intention is to get rid of my brother-in-law, I mean, does it have to be something that, why don't you talk about that?
Yeah, you mean the wordage or how you say it?
No, the intention has to be of a higher vibration, or can it be,
no,
gross?
It doesn't have to be necessarily. It's like, what does the person want? What is their desire? What is it they would like to have they feel that would give them the inner peace they want? It's even more advanced beyond that, because they'll say their intention of what it is they want, whether it's a relationship or a job or whatever it is. But the technology is so advanced, it'll go even beyond the intention and to see what really is there. Yeah.
And that probably for most people is love of some form.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I want to feel love and share it.
Absolutely. It'll even go to the core of that.
I see.
And it'll feed that back to them in the form of vibration in the chair. So they get to see it, hear it, and feel it in every part of their body. And normally, all of our senses are not opened up at the same time. So when you open up all those senses at the same time, which is about a 40-minute session, the whole subconscious just opens up to infinite potential possibility, and it just, and then they move in the direction of their attention much, much faster than if they would have meditated or otherwise done in some other technique like that. It happens pretty quickly. Wow. The limitations are released, essentially.
So when this is happening, I mean, they don't do all this in one session, right? No. I mean, this is over time, and so I mean, how does that get regular? How do you determine, when they sit in the chair, when they get the mandala? Why don't you talk a little about that?
Sure. Well, ideally, we start with the grounding process with the MRS 2000, which is about an 8 or 16-minute session for maybe 2 or 3 times, maybe a couple of times, and then they move to the centering technology. And from that, we're able to see what stressors are there and help to balance that out.
And at each stage, you're reviewing the data that comes back and putting it, and seeing how it's changing and improving. So is there like a test or an indication before and an indication after each session?
Yes, with the centering technology there is, but I'm also checking their blood pressure before and after and seeing what changes may have taken place, their pulse. And over a period of time, and with lifestyle changes, we're seeing changes and corrections in their lab values as well. Mm-hmm. So after the centering technology, because what we found is that because stress is such a major issue, and at first, the first thing we do is treat the end manifestation of stress. So this could be physical symptoms, it could be insomnia or muscle pain, aches, headaches, trouble sleeping, or it could be psychological manifestations, could be depression or anxiety. So we treat those first, and of course address diet and lifestyle. And then from there, then move on to the technologies to help to center and balance them even further and bring harmony in their life. And then from that point, now once that is taken care of, and what we've seen, then they're able to deal with stressful situations with greater ease. And then I found personally, when I'm using the technologies on myself, if other outside stressors come, I'm able to be more productive and actually turn that stressor into a positive experience. Versus if I'm completely depleted and exhausted, then it becomes, I end up more depleted and exhausted. But then what we ended up asking ourselves is, yes, we're treating the end result of stress physically and emotionally, but what is the actual cause of stress?
Yeah, how do we get to the root?
How do we get to the root? And what we found is that the actual cause of stress is unfulfilled dreams and desires. And this could be someone wanted to go into art or theater or music or maybe study a different subject, and maybe they didn't feel that they could do it or they didn't have the encouragement. It could be a number of reasons. But the end result was the same, that they would have an inner turmoil and stressor. And then that's where then we lead to this final technology, after addressing that initially with the other two, grounding and centering, then the soaring with this technology.
But wouldn't you say that ultimately, we talked about the root a little bit, and that, you know, it looks like you want it to go into art, but really ultimately every human being wants to feel love and share it, and the rest are kind of, you know, particulars in each life, and one wears a dark coat and one wears a light coat, but ultimately if we're, you know, feeling love and sharing it in that infinite, unconditional way, you know, that's really the root. And then
that's the ultimate.
So, I mean, ultimately, you would hope that the healings and the technologies would lead one back to leading a life where they're feeling love and sharing it.
And that's the beauty, because with all of the technologies in different ways, and especially with this last technology for soaring, it puts you into the state of being in the zone, but without years of meditation. And when you're in that state, you feel like everything flows effortlessly. You feel that natural state of love for yourself and others. And then from there, you know, just beautiful manifestations take place.
Yeah, you know, my experience was, you know, through different techniques and things, that you have that experience and you go, this is a lot better than the regular stress, craziness I'm usually involved in, and you want more and more of that. And so you want to line your life up with those things that feed that. So why don't you talk to that? You probably see that a lot.
Yeah, the neat thing with the soaring technology, once you get to that stage, is it helps you take you to higher levels of consciousness that you never were at before. And you start thinking about things you never thought of before, and having realizations.
It just cleans the pipes out, so everything is moving.
It's kind of like an awakening experience, and it's definitely very experiential. And you know, people will come out saying, "Wow, I didn't think about this," and they'll want to pursue something, or they get all these feedbacks of what they should do, and they're literally almost guided. It kind of helps the whole process and brings them back to their connection with like their true source, or the love and the love within. And so it really helps bring that back, you know, because you tend to get caught up in the regular grind of things, like you were mentioning.
Notice.
And
you probably see a lot of people.
Oh,
I mean, you know, it's just hard not to. I mean, there's just a lot of
so.
stresses and a lot of, you know, levels of fear, and you know, especially now with the times of, you know, it seems like everybody's having some issues around relationships. You know, the standard money, housing, foreclosures, you know, jobs.
Definitely.
Exactly. And so when you're caught up into that, you get disconnected from your source. And this technology literally helps you to get back to that connection again. And then it's like an awakening, and you feel all kinds of wonderful feelings of love and connection and after the session. And you know, it's like an ecstatic feeling.
Wow. And at this particular point, this is the only center you have where that's available happens to be here in Santa Barbara. And is there any way that these technologies could be done remotely if somebody who's watching the show from Germany, from New York, from, you know, Washington State wants to be part of this, but can't at this time come to Santa Barbara? Is anybody, can they do it at this point, remotely at all, anything like that?
With one of the technologies, we are able to do remote work. And that's, I think, where the future of medicine is headed.
Yeah, I mean, because it's just, you know, time and space is changing. So, you know, that how do we get these things we were talking about, like YouTube, how it gets out all over the world. So how can we get that energy and, you know, that power out all over the world, that healing, that harmony? And that's, I think, part of the new paradigms that we're all talking about.
Yes, absolutely.
So in 30 seconds, what do you want everybody to know about healing and harmony and what they could best do to serve themselves?
Well, it begins with nutrition, and we recommend supporting our local farmers, going to your farmers markets. Juicing, vegetable juicing is very critical. It's like having a blood transfusion of nutrients. Detoxification of the organs is very critical because we're being bombarded with toxins. And green superfoods, that's again another form of blood transfusion of nutrients, and it's literally like the life force of the body.
Oh, that's beautiful. All right, so we only got about 10 seconds left. Let me just tell, anybody want any information about Deepak and Roopa, the Chari Center, call me, Alan, 805-687-2053. Good night, we love you. God bless you. Good night.